The story commences with a picturesque valley nestled between mountains, but abruptly switches to a man undergoing a rigorous training regimen in frigid water. He vigorously punches the water, causing it to splash onto him, before exiting the water to put on his clothes. This form of training has deteriorated his body, reducing his lifespan to a mere 20 years. However, he is determined to avenge his parents, even if it means sacrificing his life. After leaving the training ground, he heads home. The man's name is Ming, and as he walks through the streets, he is ridiculed by the crowd. He hails from the Yi clan's branch family, but his parents were murdered by influential figures in Maple Leaf City when he was just 10 years old. Despite facing numerous challenges, he has spent his life training and preparing to seek retribution. As a result, he has become dominant within the clan, which has aroused envy among others. He remembered that while he was resting in a garden, he came across a rare flower, only to be confronted by his jealous elder brother, Jinying, who tried to harm him with his followers. Ming's meridians are severed by Jinying's minions, rendering him unable to cultivate. As a result, he shifts his focus to body cultivation. The scene then transitions to Ming's house, where two individuals, Jinxiang Yi and his servant, enter uninvited. Saner Hu, the servant, is instructed to provide Ming with leftovers, but he refuses to consume them. In response, Ming attacks Saner with the bowl he was given, striking his testicles. Jinxiang intervenes, criticizing Ming for assaulting Saner in his presence. Ming challenges Jinxiang to a duel, but the latter declines, citing his own weakness. Jinxiang departs, warning Ming that Saner is loyal to Jinying. Devoid of food after throwing away the leftovers, Ming sets out to purchase rice. Along the way, an old man approaches him, offering to help him become stronger. Ming initially assumes the man is a beggar and rejects his offer, but the old man recognizes Ming's broken meridians and impresses him with his strength. The old man invites Ming to meet him at midnight to reveal his destiny. Ming was in his home, lost in deep contemplation about whether the beggar could genuinely help him. Despite his doubts, he decides to meet with the beggar, who requests that Ming follow him through the streets and up a mountain. Upon reaching the top of the hill, the beggar discusses Ming's potential and aptitude, stating that he could achieve great things if not for his broken meridians. Suddenly, the beggar's demeanor changes, and he reveals his true intentions to take over Ming's body and conquer the world. He shoots a beam of red light at Ming's forehead, causing his entire body to become paralyzed. In exchange for Ming's body, the beggar tells his story of being a former general of the Rose-Finch dynasty who escaped an assassination attempt and discovered the art of reincarnation, which he used to take over the body of an inner disciple of the heavenly earth. However, after 30 years, he was chased by martial arts saints and stole all three of their treasures before barely escaping death. He then took over the body of the beggar. Ming questions why the beggar chose him since his meridians are damaged and useless. The beggar reveals an extremely rare healing pill called the Blessing Pill for foundation building, which can change a person's constitution and make them a genius. Ming curses the beggar as he forcefully puts the pill directly into Ming's heart, causing him to believe he is about to die. A golden light emanates from his heart, revealing a statue-like figure meditating inside. The beggar then transfers his consciousness to Ming's body while his old body falls to the ground. Ming's eyes turn purple as he regains control of his body and checks for any abnormalities. To his surprise, his body exceeds his expectations. Ming attempted to reclaim his body from the old man who had taken it over partially. He planned to remove the old man later, but first he took the treasures from the old man's body, including the divine cloak. Ming dropped some of his blood on the cloak, causing it to glow with a golden light and Sanskrit letters. However, to his surprise, he discovered that there was a palpable spirit attached to the cloak. The spirit recognized Ming as the original owner and removed the old man's soul from his body. After waking up, Ming was shocked to find himself alive and hearing an unknown voice. The spirit introduced herself as Baiming, the palpable spirit of the divine cloak, and explained that every divine martial arts instrument has one. She recounted the history of the cloak, which was made by the ancestral patriarch Skyroamer himself at the beginning of time. Ming was impressed by the cloak's origins and its ability to bring luck and fortune to its wearer, making them an unprecedented genius. Bai Ming urged Ming to take the Skyroamer Sutra from the old man's pocket, which would aid his cultivation. However, Ming was still unable to practice due to his damaged meridians, a fact that saddened him. Bai Ming then revealed that she could cure his meridians and internal injuries with the help of the blessing pill. Ming eagerly agreed, and Bai Ming passed energy through her hand to his forehead, causing demons to appear in his heart near the golden meditating figure. After being healed, Ming left for his home, one step closer to achieving his goal of revenge. As Ming pushed open the door to his home, he was taken aback to find Jinying waiting for him. Jinying was aware that Ming had been training in the icy waters, even though it was a life-threatening endeavor. Doubts plagued Jinying regarding Ming's motivations for such training. He questioned whether Ming sought to join the Red Sun sect or if his goal was to seek revenge on Jinying himself. Ming reassured him, explaining that there was nothing for Jinying to fear, as his health was already deteriorating. Jinying acknowledged Ming's dire circumstances and recognized his impoverished lifestyle and lack of resources. Jinying reminded Ming of the insult he had directed towards Saner Hu, Jinying's servant. He had come to teach Ming a lesson for his misbehavior. Jinying swiftly dashed toward Ming with incredible speed and unleashed a powerful strike, pushing Ming backward with his palm. Ming coughed up blood and was sent flying, only coming to a stop when he collided with a nearby wall. Jinying cursed Ming, branding him and his family as the sinners of the clan. He revealed that Lady Hanyu, who hailed from their uncle Wu's family, was due to visit them in a few days. Lady Hanyu had been engaged to Ming in their childhood. Jinying forbade Ming from approaching Hanyu. However, Ming declared that he had severed all ties with her. Jinying disclosed that she was an exceptional martial arts prodigy and that he would soon marry her, intending to humiliate Ming by marrying his childhood betrothed. Ming scoffed at his own helplessness and weakness and vowed to retaliate strongly against Jinying. He turned to Bai Ming and inquired about a method to become significantly stronger than his current self within a short period. Bai Ming revealed that there was indeed such a method, but it would subject him to unbearable pain. Ming mockingly stated that nothing could be more painful than training in icy water. Bai Ming informed him that Tianpeng Ji, the old beggar, had once discovered a Qigong technique called the heaven-striking footwork, which helped him escape from the martial saints. She explained the steps to Ming, emphasizing the need to cultivate his primordial spirit and undergo a 49-day fast. To prevent him from succumbing to starvation, she suggested that he devour the life force of the evil lords within his body. Ming, with a sinister smile, accepted the arduous challenge and prepared himself for the forthcoming 49 days. Ming's fast was scheduled to conclude on the 49th day, however, to her astonishment, he was still engaged in meditation. Bai Ming became concerned about his well-being and wondered if he had been consumed by the malevolent rulers. Suddenly, Ming's stomach emitted a faint golden light, indicating that he had completed the cultivation of his primordial spirit. Upon opening his eyes, Ming expressed his delight in the delectable taste of the force of the evil lords. Bai Ming extended her congratulations, informing him that he had now entered the phase of blood cultivation. She inquired as to when they should proceed with the next step, and he responded that they should commence immediately. The scene transitions to 3 days later, where Ming is found sweating and exhausted on the training ground while practicing his footwork technique. Abruptly, Jinying intrudes into his residence and forcefully kicks the door, causing it to fly a few meters away. He ridicules Ming by sarcastically calling him a genius and questions why he is training on the ground instead of in frigid waters. Accompanied by Hanyu, Jinying continues to taunt Ming in her presence. However, Hanyu exhibits a lack of interest in the situation involving Ming and pleads with Jinying not to take her to his place anymore. She labels Ming as a loser and declares that she does not wish to see him. Jinying demanded that Ming draft a statement to annul the engagement. Despite his newfound strength, Ming shouted at Jinying and mocked him for entering without an invitation. Hanyu insultingly referred to Ming as an orphan and berated him for lecturing her on manners. She vehemently declared that she would rather die than marry Ming. Ming insulted Hanyu by asking if she thought she was the most beautiful girl in the world and if she had an inflated ego. This made Hanyu angry, causing her to lunge at Ming to hit him. However, Ming was able to defend himself and pushed her back, causing her to sustain a significant injury. Jinying yelled at Ming for his actions, but Ming was quick to act and swiftly approached Jinying, kicking him in the shin bone, which caused it to break. Jinying was in agony and rolling on the ground. Ming realized that he had used too much force and began to contemplate the consequences of his actions. With no concern for the consequences, Ming kicked Jinying's leg again and quickly fled to safety. Fueled by anger, Jinying vowed to ruin Ming's entire life. Jinying's henchmen were dispersed all over the place, combing through the area in search of Ming. Ming, who is concealed inside a house, is doing his best to avoid them. He believes that remaining hidden until nighttime and taking advantage of everyone in town being asleep offers a better chance for him. He feels remorseful about the forceful altercation with Jinying. Ming inquires about their intended destination for escape, but Ming, being an orphan and living in poverty, explains that they have no choice but to seek refuge in the mountains. In the midst of the clan meeting, clan leader Wanqing Yi directed his inquiries towards the elders, seeking any information regarding the whereabouts of Ming Yi. Wanqing's son, Ziyuan Yi, who was also Jinying's father, advised his father not to focus too much on Ming. He explained that Ming's meridians had already been severed, rendering him unable to cultivate his abilities. Jinying also agreed, asserting that eliminating Ming would be more beneficial for the clan. Expressing his concern, Wanqing emphasizes that he is particularly worried about Ming's potential visit to Maple Leaf City. He fears that if Ming discovers the truth about the incident surrounding his parents' death and shares it with the Huang family, it could result in severe repercussions for the Yi clan. Yezili Yi, who happened to be Zhenxiong's father, becomes increasingly frustrated and channels his anger towards the family for displaying compassion towards Ming. This mercy, in Yezili's view, has resulted in Zhenxiong's emotional devastation. Ziyuan interjects, mentioning that he is the son of Ziyue, and emphasizes that no one in the family desires to be branded as the murderer of their own nephew. He was about to comment further on Ming's mother, but his remarks were interrupted by Wanqing. Yezili Yi, filled with rage, holds Ziyuan responsible for the unfortunate incident that resulted in the death of young Master Huang at a brothel. Wanqing, in an act of humiliation, criticizes Ziyuan and praises Zixing, claiming that he surpasses all of them. Wanqing commands his men to search for Ming and bring him back, either alive or dead. However, he later has a change of heart and instructs them to bring Ming back with broken legs and hands. Meanwhile, Ming remained concealed within his house. However, at midnight, he ventured out and approached Zihuyan's residence. There, he overheard Zihuyan experiencing nightmares, wherein Zihuyan was apologizing to Ziyue. Ming ponders the significance of this occurrence and why Zihuyan was remembering Ming's father. Zihuyan was drenched in sweat, and his wife tended to him, assuring him that Ziyue was no longer alive and he shouldn't let it trouble him. Their conversation continued, gradually unveiling a startling truth: Ziyue had shouldered the blame on behalf of Zihuyan and faced the consequences for it. However, the most shocking revelation emerged, that Wanqing was the one who had ended Ziyue's life. To safeguard the Yi clan from ruin, Ziyue's affiliation with the Haotian sect was kept secret, leading to his expulsion. Zihuyan's wife reassures him that he bears no responsibility for the events that unfolded. Despite Zihuyan losing his sanity and inadvertently causing the death of young Master Huan, Ziyue took the blame and was subsequently executed. Unbeknownst to them, Ming, who was hiding nearby, overheard the entire conversation. However, Zihuyan sensed a presence and hastily opened the door, only to find no one there. He dismissed it as a mere coincidence. Filled with overwhelming anger, Ming implored Ming to guide him on the most effective methods to rapidly enhance his strength. Ming facilitated his journey toward becoming stronger by introducing a range of techniques. Ming embarked on intense training, dedicating himself to it day and night. Even when injured, he would seek Bai Ming's assistance for healing and immediately resume his practice. Consumed by his thirst for revenge, Ming neglected his own well-being. Following 2 weeks of intense training, Ming achieved a breakthrough and successfully utilized the flash step technique during a combat situation, albeit with room for improvement. Bai Ming acknowledged his progress, highlighting that Ming had grown significantly stronger compared to his previous abilities. Furthermore, Bai Ming disclosed that Ming had acquired the ability to emit qi energy. Eager to test this newfound skill, Ming attempted to do so, causing his hands to be enveloped in a crimson aura. However, amidst his excitement, Ming's stomach growled audibly, reminding him of his hunger. Ming skillfully hunted a deer and prepared a roasted meal for himself. As he savored the meat, he couldn't help but express gratitude for the life he had embraced after departing from the Yi clan, while simultaneously criticizing his past existence. Meanwhile, the scene transitions to a young girl who was openly criticizing her family's long-standing traditions. Exhausted and famished, she caught a whiff of the enticing aroma of roasted meat and became determined to track down its source. The girl swiftly approached Ming and began eating the food without waiting for an invitation. Curious about her identity, Ming inquired about who she was. However, she evaded the question and condescendingly referred to Ming as a commoner, emphasizing his low status. In response, Ming insulted her, pointing out that she, a noble, was stealing food from a commoner. This provoked the girl, leading her to assert her status as a princess and express her anger at Ming's audacity to insult her. Undeterred, Ming continued to mock her, further fueling her frustration. Consumed by anger, she challenges Ming to a duel, confident that she will demonstrate her superiority. Arrogantly, she claims that a single move would be sufficient to defeat him. Ming, accepting the challenge, invites her to showcase the distinction between royalty and commoner. With incredible speed, she lunges forward, delivering a powerful punch. However, Ming skillfully defends himself, surprising the girl. Intrigued by Ming's footwork, she becomes curious about his technique. Ming seizes the opportunity to launch a counterattack, but she effortlessly evades his strike. The scene transitions to high above the ground, amidst the clouds, where two men engage in conversation while observing the intense battle between Ming and the girl. The elderly man, named Su, offers his admiration to Ming, comparing his qi energy to thunder and his footwork to that of a ghost. The other man, identified as Sun, speculates that Ming's footwork technique might be the lethal footwork technique of the immortal shrine. Both Su and Sun exude an aura of immense strength, surpassing anyone present. Their purpose there is to safeguard the princess. Su becomes concerned that the ongoing fight may jeopardize the princess's safety and suggests intervening to halt it. However, Sun adamantly refuses to do so. Although Ming had a slight edge over the girl in terms of strength, the fierce battle endured for 4 exhausting hours. Both combatants were drenched in sweat, utterly drained. Ming belittles the supposed superiority of the self-proclaimed royalty, asserting that it is no better than that of a commoner. In response, the girl claims that she had deliberately restrained her strength to match Ming's level, but promises to return the next day and defeat him. Ming mocks her, sarcastically urging her not to come back as he feigned fear. Once the girl departed, Bai Ming cautions Ming against underestimating her, revealing that she is protected by 2 individuals at the martial arts dominator level. Upon hearing the mention of the martial arts dominator level, Ming becomes filled with terror and anxiously inquires about their whereabouts from Bai Ming. To his surprise, Bai Ming discloses that they had been situated above the clouds throughout the entire encounter. However, she assures Ming that as long as she remains by his side, they pose no threat to him. Bai Ming had a strong suspicion that the girl was none other than the princess of the Rosefinch dynasty, considering her utilization of the raging fire footwork and her self-proclaimed title as a princess. While Ming felt intimidated by the girl's prestigious background, he remained resolute and refused to retreat from a potential confrontation. Bai Ming presented Ming with a valuable set of grade 8 martial skills known as the bellow fist technique, assuring him that it would significantly enhance his strength in a relatively short time. She recommended that he combine the practice of this technique with the cultivation of the Skyroaming Sutra. Ming eagerly embraced Bai Ming's offer and immediately commenced training in the new martial skill. Meanwhile, the princess, having suffered a defeat at the hands of Ming, felt provoked. She was on the brink of achieving the breakthrough to become a grade 1 warrior. However, the loss struck a blow to her pride, as she could not accept the idea of a commoner being on par with her abilities. The following day, the princess once again confronted Ming, and they engaged in a fierce battle. Their punches collided, leaving both of them shocked and amazed by the immense gains in each other's strength. As they continued their fight, the scene shifted to Su and Sun, who remained perched on the cloud, observing the spectacle. Sun was deeply impressed by Ming's remarkable talent, drawing a comparison to that of the princess. He contemplated the options of either recruiting Ming or eliminating him. However, Bai Ming, having overheard their conversation, revealed her presence, causing both Sun and Su to be startled and alarmed. Upon realizing their mistake, Sun and Su humbly apologized to Bai Ming,